October 2025, Moscow. While everyone was scrolling through their usual drama online, Brics quietly does something that could completely flip who controls money in this world. And no, it's not some kind of cryptocurrency or another digital currency announcement. It's actually way more interesting than that. They launched a precious metals exchange. Basically, countries can now trade gold, platinum, rare earths. You know, the actual physical stuff that runs our world without ever touching a US dollar. Now, here is the part that should have every African pay attention. Brics controls about 72% of the world's rare reserves and processes roughly 75% of them. The minerals in your phone, in electric cars, in military equipment, they control the supply. And here's where Africa comes in. Many African countries are either already in Brics or moving to join, which means we are about to be right at the center of who controls these critical resources. But, and this is a big but, if we don't play this smart, we are about to watch the same old movie. Different actors, same ending. In the next few minutes, I'm breaking why this Brics move is either the best thing that could happen to Africa or just another setup for us to get played again. Let me walk you through what actually went down. Alright, so here's what happened at this Moscow Financial Forum. Brics, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they announced they are creating their own exchange for precious metals and rare earth minerals. Now think about what that actually means. For decades, if you wanted to trade gold internationally, you had to go through London. Rare earths, Western institutions set the price. International payments, SWIFT and the dollar controlled everything. And if they didn't like what you were doing, they could freeze your money on a random Tuesday. Brics basically said, what if we just don't do that anymore? Now here's how it works. Countries can settle trade using actual physical assets. That's gold, platinum, diamonds, rare earth minerals. Shanghai's gold exchange becomes the storage spot for countries that looked at what happened to Russia's frozen assets and said never again. And get this, Brics controlled about 75% of how rare earth gets processed globally. So this isn't really about creating a new currency. It's about moving power from paper promises to actual physical things of value. But here is where it gets really interesting for us in Africa. There is a reason why Brics rushed to announce this in October, and it has everything to do with something a certain someone in Washington said 6 months before. I'll get to that in a minute. But first, you need to understand where Africa fits in all this. Because honestly, without us, their whole plan falls apart. Now, I was talking to this mining engineer in Joburg last month, a very sharp guy, and he said something that got stuck in my head ever since that conversation. We have seen this before. They needed our gold back in the day, our diamonds, our copper. We got the holes in the ground. They got rich. What's different this time? Honestly, that's a valid question. What's different this time? Now let's look at what's actually happening. Countries like Angola, Nigeria, Malawi, South Africa, Namibia, they are ramping up rare earth mining. The goal is to supply about 10% of global demand by 2030. But here is the thing, they are not just digging anymore. We are talking about processing plants, refineries, keeping more value here. So on one hand, we've got leverage we've never had before. Brics needs our minerals, the West needs them. Everybody needs what we are sitting on. But on the other hand, who owns the refineries? Who controls the processing? Who actually sets the prices? Are we building these things ourselves, or are we just swapping one boss for another, trading London's control for Beijing's. Now, there is this Akan proverb that goes, "The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people." If our leaders are not structuring these deals right, if we are not building our own industries, controlling our own supply chains, we are just setting up the next generation of the same resource curse our parents lived through. But here is where things get interesting, because while Brics was putting all this together, someone in Washington noticed and he's not having it. Actually, he threatens to destroy the whole thing. Let me show you what happened and why it backfired in just a second. July 2025, Trump comes out and announces a 10% tariff, sometimes way higher on any country that joins or even supports Brics. He literally called Brics nations un-American and said the alliance would end quickly if they tried to form anything real. You want to know what happened next? They doubled down. Brazil's president started calling emergency meetings. China's foreign ministry calls Trump threats, global bullying. Even India, who usually plays careful, said these tariffs just gave everyone more reason to ditch the US dollar. Now, here is what's kind of ironical about this whole thing. Trump tried to scare them into backing down. Instead, he gave them a reason to unite. Now, think about it. When you threaten someone's economic survival, they don't just fold, they get creative. They find another way. And Brics had something Trump didn't think about. They control the stuff the world cannot literally function without. The US military needs niobium for fighter jets. Your iPhone needs rare earths. Electric vehicles can't make them without cobalt and lithium. And Brics, especially with African countries on board, controls most of the supply. So this is the question I keep coming back to. Is this actually a new system being built, or is it just new people running the same old game? Seriously, think about this for a second. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because how you answer that question changes everything about what Africa should do next. Now, let me show you why the stakes just got higher. So while Brics was building this exchange, something else was quietly happening in the background. The US dollar just had its worst year since 1973. Morgan Stanley tracked it. The dollar dropped 11% against major currencies in 2025. That's not a hiccup, it's a real shift. And here is the crazy part. 68% of Brics trade now completely bypass the dollar. You know how a dam doesn't just collapse all at once. First, there is a tiny crack. Then water starts trickling through. Then one day the whole thing gives way. That's what's happening to the dollar right now. Not some dramatic explosion, just steady erosion. And here's what keeps me up at night. What should keep every African leader thinking. When that dam finally breaks, who is going to control where all this wealth flows? Because if Africa is just digging up raw materials for Brics the same way we did for Europe, we are not building wealth, we are just renting it out. Now, there is this Swahili saying, Habana haba ujaza kibaba. Little by little fills the measure. We can't sit around waiting for some big dramatic moment. The refineries being built or not built, the local industries being protected or sold off, that's what decides whether we own our future or we just rent it. So Nigerians hold tight to the Dangote refinery. Now, there is a growing thing over the internet these days about what's happening in Nigeria against Christians. For sure, that is something that has been going on, and it's very bad, it's very dangerous. But why is it reported now has never been? Why has the American government paid so much attention up to the point that it wants to convert the Nigerian nation into a terrorist country? Why is it happening just now? So I want you to think about that and keep your thoughts in the comment section. What does actually playing smart looks like. What should Africa be doing with this leverage we've got? I'm about to break down 3 moves that separate the winners from the losers in this new setup. And one of them, most African leaders aren't even talking about it yet. Move number 1, own the whole chain. Stop shipping raw materials out. Build refineries here. Do the processing locally. When you export rare earth, export the finished product, not the raw potential for someone else to get rich off of. Rwanda is actually doing this with coltan right now. It's small scale, but that's actually the blueprint. Move number 2. Play both sides. BRICS needs us. The West needs us. Perfect. Let them compete for us. Let them bid against each other. But, and this is crucial, don't lock yourself into exclusive deals that just create new dependency. Now, I was talking to this economist in Nairobi who puts it perfectly. The biggest mistake is thinking you have to choose a side. Don't. Sometimes keeping your options open is the smartest play. Move number 3, and honestly, this is the one nobody is actually pushing. Build trade between African countries. Right now, it is literally easier to ship cobalt from Congo to China than to send to Nigeria. That makes 0 sense. If Africa builds its own internal infrastructure, railways connecting us, processing hubs, currency swaps between African nations, we stop just being a resource provider and become our own economic power. That's when both BRICS and the West have to sit down and negotiate with us on our terms. So here's what I want to know from you. Which African country do you think is best positioned to actually lead this? And what's holding everyone else back? Drop your thoughts below. I really want to see what you are thinking from your perspective. Here is the truth. BRICS didn't break the dollar's control because they care about fairness. They did it for control, for power to survive. And doing that, they handed something Africa hasn't had for a long time. Real leverage. But leverage doesn't mean anything if you don't know what to do with it. For generations, we have watched the world get rich off what's under our soil while we stayed poor. Our gold built cathedrals, our diamonds funded their wars, our cobalt powers technologies most of us can't even afford. This moment right here, BRICS is launching this exchange. Everyone is scrambling for rare earths, the old financial system cracking. This is the chance to change that story. But only African leaders think 10 steps ahead, not 1. Only if we build the refineries, control supply chains, and negotiate from a position of strength. Only if the diaspora, the young people, the entrepreneurs, the voters hold them accountable and demand better. The global system is changing. That's not the question anymore. The only question is, will Africa shape what comes next, or will we just get shaped by it again? That's the choice, and it's happening right now. If this shifted how you see what's going on, if it gave you something new to think about, share with someone who needs to know it, and let me know in the comments what worries you more about this, what gives you hope, and know that this conversation is just getting started. I'm Luis. See you in my next investigation. Bye.